In southern Italy, life proceeds as usual. Streets are crowded, cafes remain busy, and millions follow their routines without considering what lies beneath. Outwardly, nothing seems unusual. Underground, however, scientists closely monitor Campi Flegrei, one of the world's most complex volcanic systems. Unlike towering volcanoes, Campi Flegrei is a vast caldera shaped by ancient eruptions. Entire communities now occupy this region, making it one of the few volcanic systems near a dense population. Its activity typically emerges quietly, not only in eruptions, but through subtle underground changes. In recent years, researchers have observed changes that continue to attract scientific attention. One of the most noticeable is a gradual rise in the ground surface in several areas around the caldera. This process, known as uplift, occurs when pressure beneath the surface slowly pushes the land upward. Day by day, the movement may appear insignificant, but over longer periods, the cumulative change becomes large enough to monitor carefully. Ground uplift alone does not automatically signal danger. Volcanic systems naturally go through periods of expansion and stabilization. However, when rising ground begins appearing alongside increasing seismic activity and changes underground, scientists become more attentive. Their focus is not on a single event, but on identifying patterns that may reveal how conditions are evolving beneath the surface. Over multiple monitoring periods, small earthquakes began occurring more frequently throughout parts of the region. Most were relatively minor and caused little damage, but their repetition became an important subject of study. Scientists were not simply counting earthquakes, they were analyzing how often they occurred, where they appeared, and whether they showed signs of increasing underground pressure. This raises a question that remains difficult to answer. Are these changes part of Campi Flegrei's normal volcanic cycle, or do they indicate a deeper process developing below the surface? That uncertainty is exactly what makes volcanic monitoring so challenging. Unlike popular expectations, volcanoes rarely follow simple patterns. Pressure can rise and later decrease without triggering an eruption. Activity may continue for years before stabilizing again. For that reason, scientists avoid relying on one dramatic indicator. Instead, they combine many forms of observation to understand the larger picture. Every small earthquake becomes a source of information. Every shift in ground elevation provides new data. Changes in underground gas emissions and geological measurements all help researchers build a clearer understanding of what may be happening kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. One way to imagine Campi Flegrei is as a system that constantly changes over time. Sometimes it expands, sometimes it stabilizes. Scientists compare current measurements with historical records to determine whether today's activity resembles previous cycles or whether something new may be developing. The goal is not to predict a precise event, but to better understand how the system behaves. Modern technology now allows researchers to monitor the area more closely than ever before. Networks of sensors continuously record seismic movement, while satellite observations detect subtle changes in ground elevation that would otherwise be impossible to notice. Geological analysis and computer models are then used to interpret these signals and estimate what processes may be taking place underground. Despite growing scientific attention, there is currently no major eruption occurring at Campi Flegrei. Life around the region continues normally. People work, travel, and go about their everyday activities. However, monitoring remains active because history has shown that large geological changes often begin quietly rather than dramatically. That may be what makes Campi Flegrei so fascinating to scientists around the world, not because of what is visible today, but because of what remains uncertain. Beneath a landscape that appears calm, processes continue that humans are still trying to understand. And for now, one question remains unanswered. Are these changes simply another phase in the volcano's long history, or the early signs of something larger still unfolding beneath southern Italy?